Mendel Kaplan. Good morning, Rabbi Kaplan. How are you today?
Good morning, Martin. Good morning to all of our listeners and those who join us on the internet. It's a beautiful day. Baruch Hashem. Today is Tes Kislev. It is the birth date and the yahrzeit, the Hilula of the Mittel Rebbe, the second Rebbe of the Chabad Lubavitch dynasty. And his primary focus was teaching Hasidus and publishing the teachings so that they would be available for all kinds of people coming from all kinds of different backgrounds. And Hasidus is by and large metaphorized as or v'chayut, as light and life. And you know, when you're in a very dark room, it's not comfortable. And when the lights go on, everything changes. But actually nothing changed at all. All that happened is the lights were on. Hasidus is much like this. It doesn't change Judaism in any way, but it changes everything because it throws light where there might previously have been darkness or confusion. Some of the things we read about in the Torah seem positively strange, distant, really impossible to derive a pragmatic or practical lesson in our life, in our age. And yet, with the light and the vitality of Hasidus, everything becomes clear and everything becomes animated. The difference between a body that is live and dead and from a perspective of body mass is almost not recognizable. Body mass is body mass. But when something is alive, it's very, very different. So I want to talk about the scene that is described in the Chumash and the Torah reading for Shlishi, that corresponds to the third day of the week, which is today, when we read about one of the most dramatic events in the entirety of the Torah, the twin brothers who have been mortal enemies, really since before their birth. They wrestled in the womb. They were born with one grasping the other's heel, a starving and exhausted Esau. Esav sells his birthright for a bowl of porridge or kidney beans, and then is fuming, really filled with anger and rage about this, and it comes to a head when Yaakov surreptitiously takes the blessings that Esav thought were rightfully his. And Yaakov has to disappear. He's driven from the land of Israel for a full 34 years. And in this week's Torah portion, Vayishlach, he is returning, and he has a great deal of fear and anxiety, a lot of concern. Esav is marching, and he's got 400 terrorists armed to the teeth, and they are on a mission to destroy and annihilate. Yaakov uses a three-pronged approach, one of diplomacy, which means sending Esav lots of gifts, one of prayer, and he prepares for combat. And in the end, Yaakov is successful. And as the Torah tells us, when they meet, Vayorotz Esav likrasei, Esav runs forward towards Yaakov, and he embraces him. Vayechabkeu, vayipal al tzavaro, he throws himself on his neck. Vayishakeu, and he kisses him. And our sages tell us that the kiss requires some investigation. In the words that Rashi uses, quoting our sages, the words Vayishakeu have little dots upon them. Nokud alehem. In antiquity, when it wasn't possible to write things in italics, and we didn't have what we call today parenthesis, when somebody wanted to place emphasis or de-emphasize a word, dots would be placed above certain letters. This was not only in Hebrew, it actually is the case with all writings out of antiquity. And in the Torah, when there are dots placed upon the letters of a word, it tells you to read beneath the surface. And there is a dispute amongst our sages as to how we read beneath the surface. According to some opinions, this was a kiss, albeit an unwholehearted kiss. So he kissed him. But it was an emotion that was, shall we say, less than absolute. And then there is another opinion, and this is attributed to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He says this kiss was the exception, and he did kiss him with all his heart. However, that was the exception. The exception that there was a temporary moment of reconciliation, but it didn't last. And really, Martin, the point that I think that we have to derive from this is that when the world at large seems at peace with us, we can't get overwhelmed or too excited by it. We have to realize that either the peace that the world seems to make with us, Am Yisrael, is less than wholehearted, and that certainly seems to be the case after October 7th, where so many people who seem to be at peace with Israel or seem to be at peace with the Jewish people suddenly weren't. And at the same time, when we have friends and allies, and we do have some very, very good friends and allies, do not put your trust in that kind of friendship, because ultimately the struggle continues. We're in the struggle. We remain, as I talked about yesterday, we remain Yaakov as well as Yisrael. This is true both for us individually, and it's true for us as a nation. The paradigm is the days of the week and Shabbat. This is a struggle of matter over spirit. On Shabbat, spirit reigns supreme, and we have an elevated existence. And then Shabbat ends, and we're tumbling back into the work week. And we have those challenges that face us time and again. And until Mashiach comes, this is going to be the case. There will be struggles. There will be challenges. It is out of those struggles that we will realize our potential, that we will lay claim to the heroic possibilities that lie at the core of our very being. And sometimes the glory is in the struggle itself. So, Martin, I say to all those who might be demoralized by some of the things that we have seen or some of the things that we might face, to take strength, to take good courage, to know that the glory is sometimes in the struggle, but also at the same time to know that the struggle will come to an end. And as a result of us contending with the various challenges that come our way in a manner of enthusiasm, and to try to approach everything b'simcha, with joy and gladness of heart, to know that all of this is part of Avodat Hashem, part of the fulfillment of our mission in perfecting the world and making it the goodly, godly place it can and will, Be'ezrat Hashem, very soon become. We will merit to move from the time of challenge into the time of inner peace and tranquility for posterity. For in the end, Yaakov will become Yisrael, not temporarily, not only for a fleeting moment, but the world will fully embrace the message of Yiddishkeit and Torah. Our challenges will dissipate, hopefully very soon, forever, with the arrival of Mashiach. The important thing for us to know now is, Martin, that we have an opportunity, a very unique opportunity. We're seeing miraculous things unfold in the Middle East and around Israel. We're seeing Israel assert itself and do what is necessary to protect itself from the very regimes that posed some of the most frightening and dangerous threats of the last couple of decades. And we're seeing things happen in a way that absolutely nobody predicted. This may well be the footsteps of Mashiach growing louder. And the thing is that you and I have a role to play. We have a role to play in intensifying our Yiddishkeit devotion, in studying Torah more assiduously, in performing mitzvahs more meticulously, in reaching out to one another with a greater sense of love and enthusiasm, and Be'ezrat Hashem, hopefully, as a result of our efforts, to finally cross the finish line and to see the embrace that we read of in today's Chumash to become a reality that is everlasting. May it be b'mheira u'b'yameinu, speedily, and in our days. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Rabbi Kaplan, and let's hope that all you say comes to pass, and comes to pass very, very soon.
Amen. And thank all of you for joining online. Have a beautiful day.